Hello, movie lovers, and welcome to The Real Movie Buff, where you can watch a movie as I give a commentary on the film. Scene by scene, I'll explain my favorite aspects of it and state a few things I would have done differently, as well as reveal some interesting facts about the production. Today, I'm doing Braveheart, one of the most inspirational films ever made. Well, I didn't get dressed up for nothing. I always loved the idea of the film's title being revealed through smoke to introduce a shot of the Scottish Highlands through the title card. I've always considered the opening of this film, with all the majestic landscape shots, to be one of the coolest film openings of all time. It's so epic and so gorgeous. The first shot of the movie was actually the first shot filmed. Director Mel Gibson decided against using an opening title sequence in favor of wanting to dive right into the story. Gibson actually turned down the lead role several times, saying that he was too old for the part, as he was 38 years old, and just wanted to direct and produce the film, but Paramount would not make the film unless he starred in it, so he agreed. Before Gibson had to take the part, Daniel Day-Lewis, Liam Neeson, Jeff Bridges, and Robin Williams were all considered to play Wallace.
But history is written by those who have hanged heroes.
At one point, Mel Gibson wanted Brad Pitt to play Wallace. Some people miss that the opening lines spoken are said by Robert the Bruce, and what he says is sadly somewhat true. The movie Spartacus was a heavy influence on the film. Mel Gibson turned down the chance to play James Bond in GoldenEye so that he could do this movie.
Scotland's nobles fought him and fought each other over the crown.
The film was screened at the White House for Bill Clinton, who was the president at the time. Mel Gibson did all the casting for the film himself.
Among the farmers of that shire was Malcolm Wallace, a commoner with his own lands. He had two sons, John and William.
The first historical inaccuracy of the movie is that Malcolm Wallace was the name of William's older brother, and John was William's youngest brother. So he had two brothers in real life. John Wallace was later executed by the English. For this scene, the hanging men were real actors hanging from harnesses. If I were in William's shoes, I would have also been really freaked out by this sight.
But it's our wits that make us men.
Even though he's glad William wants to help, I like how his father tries to tell his son that it's a man's wits and his brain, not his strength, that makes men real men. Another inaccuracy is that in this time period, the Scots didn't actually wear kilts.
Oh, they're gone. They'll kill us and burn the farm. It's up to us, Hamish.
And here is William's best friend, Hamish. I like how it sets up their lifelong friendship early in the film. And I like how none of the Scots need to say anything to William to reveal that his father and brother are dead. Their sad expressions say it all.
Dona eis domine et luc.
During filming, the child that plays young Merlin would often get to sit in Gibson's director's chair, and he would give her donuts. This is a really powerful scene where a heartbroken William is given a thistle by Merlin. And the thistle was not chosen by accident, for it is the national flower of Scotland. In this close-up shot of the thistle being passed to William, the hands were not the hands of the child actors, but adults, foreshadowing their future love for each other.
William, I'm your uncle, Argyle.
Brian Cox, who plays William's uncle Argyle, was at first offered a larger role, but wanted to play Uncle Argyle because he felt that it was a better role.
Learn to use this. Then I'll teach you to use this.
This line spoken by Argyle is arguably my favorite line in movie history. This moment is so good.
As bride for his son, Longshanks had chosen the daughter of his rival, the King of France.
And now several decades have passed, and we go to London, England, where Prince Edward II is marrying the Princess of France. And Prince Edward II was actually the first prince to have the title, the Prince of Wales.
It was widely whispered that for the princess to conceive,
Sir Sean Connery turned down the role of Edward Longshanks before Patrick McGoohan was cast. It is so easy to dislike McGoohan's character in this film. He is so sinister.
How will they believe our strength when we cannot rule the whole of our own island?
King Edward was called Longshanks because he was 6'2", which was a very uncommon height at the time. Meanwhile, William Wallace was 6'5".
The trouble with Scotland is that it's full of Scots.
This is such a memorable line. It's genius writing, yet so simple.
Grant them prima nocte.
Prima nocte was never actually practiced in Britain or Ireland. However, it was used in France. Oh, and by the way, the events of the film take place from 1280 to 1314. And now we are finally introduced to Mel Gibson in the lead role, 21 minutes into the film, where he has returned home after a long pilgrimage in the rest of Europe. I like how the film reunites William with Marlon, that after all this time apart, William somehow knows that it's her. And this is Wallace's childhood friend Hamish, played by Scottish actor Brendan Gleeson. Most people miss that, in this shot, a crew member can be seen in the background.
one, two.
I love how this test of manhood is won by William because of his smarts, not because of his physical strength. Tommy Flanagan's scar is real. It is actually known as the Glasgow Smog.
Oh, it's good Scottish weather, madam. The rain is falling straight down, all slightly to the side like.
Because the film was shot on actual locations and built sets, things like rain and slush and snow are all real. I love how William describes the rain here. It's hilarious. And it's shots like this that remind you of how beautiful this part of the world is. And William now confesses that he's thought about Marlon every day. Wallace's real-life wife's name was Marion, but they didn't want to confuse people with Maid Marian from the Robin Hood stories, so her name was changed to Marlon. And now he gives her the flower that she gave to him after his father died.
I came back home to raise crops and, God willing, a family. If I can live in peace, I will.
I love this scene where the older Campbell, played by James Cosmo, tries to enlist William in a possible uprising, but William says no, saying that he wants to live in peace. He says this with the hope that Merlin's father will give William permission to marry her, but he will not give away his daughter.
Well, not yet, but I was hoping that you could help me with that.
So you want me to marry you then?
And now Wallace privately asks Marlon to marry him, and I love the way that he does it. Like he doesn't rehearse it at all. And now, against her father's wishes, Marlon agrees to marry Wallace in secret. And the actress, Catherine McCormick, to this day still gets asked, what was it like to kiss Mel Gibson? I like how William watches over his new bride here. But their happiness is quickly replaced by violence when an English soldier wants Merlin for himself. Even though she only fights back in self-defense, the English don't see it that way, and William comes to her rescue. And now forced to run, Merlin sadly doesn't make it to their meeting place.
Merlin!
I hate this clip where William is searching for his wife, but is unaware of what's happened. And now, in the most heartbreaking scene in the whole movie, his wife is blamed for the assault on the soldiers and is executed. This moment is so heartbreaking, where she looks around, hoping that William will save her, but he doesn't come. Now this is my favorite scene in the film, where William rides into town to take revenge. The music written by composer James Horner is perfect for this scene. The tension that builds up in this scene is the greatest use of build-up ever on film. I love how Wallace pretends to come to surrender, but actually has other intentions. And now the fight begins, and other Scotsmen soon join in the brawl. One of the best things about this film is its action scenes. They pin you to your seat. I love how William takes his revenge here in silence. Not a single word is spoken in this sequence. McCulloch is a translation of Son of Wallace. And for some scenes, including this scene, Mel Gibson would direct the actors in a Elmer Fudd voice.
Alright. Don't wake you up in the morning, boy.
You'll feel that in the morning, boy, is one of the best lines in the film.
We heard about what was happening. We don't want you Amadans thinking you can have your fun without us.
And now Wallace learns that his act of revenge has now turned into a full-scale rebellion.
You're right. I'm here to claim the right of a husband!
And now the man who lost his wife on their wedding day finally gets to take his revenge on the man who stole her from him.
Go back to England and tell them there that Scotland's daughters and her sons are yours no more.
And this is one of the best speeches in the film.
Scottish rebels have routed one of my garrisons and murdered the noble lord.
If you pay attention to the target in the background, you'll notice that the prince shooting is terrible.
Get away from me! Convene my military council.
This scene is important because it explains that the English royal family is a mess and that there's no love or loyalty anywhere.
Where are the rest of you? Where's Wallace?
I love how this knight gets hit in the head from above and he sees Hamish waving at him.
Father,
Come in.
a rebellion has begun.
Now, Robert the Bruce visits his ailing father and tells him that a Scottish rebellion has begun under Commoner William Wallace. Angus MacFadyen was told to audition for Prince Edward, but later asked to audition for Robert the Bruce.
We'll make spears.
I like how William looks up at the trees and gets inspiration to make spears. James Cosmo, who plays Hamish's father, is only 7 years older than Brendan Gleeson.
Excellent! Stephen is my name.
And this is David O'Hara, who plays Stephen, who is one of the best characters in the film. I like how the movie intentionally makes you think that you should trust only one of these new guys, but it's actually the other guy that ends up being loyal and a good friend.
Robert the Bruce, and most of the others will not commit to battle.
Mel Gibson's brother, Donald Gibson, plays this Scottish extra who informs William that the English are gathering an army.
The nobles will negotiate. They do a deal. Then we go home.
Up to 1,600 extras were used in the battle scene, most of whom were members of the Reserve Irish Army. For the Battle of Stirling, Gibson wanted his face paint to be St. Andrew's Cross, aka the shape of the Scottish flag, but the film's makeup artist, Lois Burwell, suggested the now iconic half-painted face design.
William Wallace? Can't be. Not tall enough.
This line about Wallace not being tall enough was an inside joke, for Wallace was 6'5" and Mel Gibson is 5'10".
That they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
This speech is the greatest pre-battle speech in film history, and the line, "They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom," was named the 99th best movie quote of all time. Every time Mel Gibson would yell his battle cry lines, his horse would run, which made the scene very difficult to shoot.
Lead this army off the field.
I love this clip where Wallace rides his horse around the English general to intimidate him. Gibson said that if he could go back and redo this scene, the one thing that he would redo would be to actually punch the general in the face, then ride off. The Scots actually did do this to intimidate their enemies during battle. When Braveheart and Apollo 13 were both being nominated for Best Picture, Mel Gibson pranked director Ron Howard by showing him an ad that said that Braveheart had the best moonshot, and it showed a picture of all the Scots mooning the English army. The arrows flying through the air during the battle scenes were real blunt arrows and not digital effects. Can you imagine being charged by galloping horses in real life? Man, that would be scary. All the horses that are seen having injuries on screen during the battle scenes were actually mechanical horses. Many of the extras used in the battle scenes were people from rival companies that enjoyed beating the tar out of the people from the other companies. To give the action scenes a disturbing feel, they were edited at odd places to make it feel chaotic and intense. The Battle of Stirling took 6 weeks to shoot, and the footage took 3 weeks to edit. Several battle scenes had to be reshot because it was discovered that several extras were wearing sunglasses and watches. Gibson admitted that he borrowed filming techniques on the violent shots of the film from his Mad Max director George Miller. I love the scene where Wallace shouts in victory because his army just won a battle against overwhelming odds, and it shows what a few men can do if they have courage.
I knight thee, Sir William Wallace.
And now William is knighted, but walks out of the room because he's tired of the nobles fighting amongst themselves on who should be the next king of Scotland.
But men don't follow titles. They follow courage.
I love how William informs Robert the Bruce that men follow examples of courage, not their name or title.
Sir, we can get you out if you leave.
The gate used for the city of York was built by the crew and weighed 7 tons.
Wallace has sacked York. Huh? Wallace has sacked York.
And now Wallace sends the head of Longshanks' own nephew back to him as proof that he defeated York.
What advice would you offer on the present situation?
The reason why Longshanks throws this man out the window was because during this time, dying by the sword was considered an honor only for nobles, knights, and kings. And Longshanks didn't want to honor this guy in any way. And you can easily tell that Longshanks thinks that his son is a big disappointment to him.
I'm dreaming.
Yes, you are.
I like the idea of Wallace dreaming about his murdered wife and feeling regret about not being able to save her.
And many Scottish nobles who would not be slaves were lured by him under a flag of truce to a barn where he had them hanged.
And Wallace now meets the Princess of Wales, and he reveals to her just how sinister Longshanks is. Jodie Foster was considered to play both of the main female roles, but got neither.
William Wallace will not be ruled, and nor will any Scot while I live.
The princess also sees that Wallace is no foolish brute, but is actually intelligent.
Your island.
My island!
I love how Stephen says that Ireland is his island.
Sir William.
We cannot defeat this army. We can't!
Sir William.
And we will!
Wallace and his followers travel to Edinburgh to urge the nobles to stand and fight with him against Longshanks.
If you'll not stand up with us now, then I say you're cowards.
And William makes a very good point here.
We win, well then we'll have what none of us have ever had before. A country of our own.
And he now tries to make Robert the Bruce see that if the commoners and the nobles can unite, the Scots can win their freedom. And he says that if he were to lead, that he would follow him. In the original script, during the Battle of Falkirk, the Scots don't see the Irish coming to their aid.
Glad to have you with us. What's this?
During filming, Gibson refused to grow a beard to play Wallace. It took almost 4 hours to get the 1,400 extras through costuming in the hair and makeup departments. The first cut of the film was too violent, so the violent action scenes had to be toned down. And Gibson enjoyed making a film far away from Hollywood because it meant studio executives couldn't interfere with the production. King Edward I was indeed a military genius and was present at the real Battle of Falkirk. At the real battle, just like in the film, the Scottish cavalry did not come to the aid of the infantry. The Elder Campbell is wounded in every single battle that he's in. During the real Battle of Falkirk, William Wallace was actually shot in the throat, but this fact was deemed too unbelievable that someone could actually survive this, so they changed it to his upper chest. After all the intense battle scenes that were shot, the worst injury was just a broken nose. And now William is horrified to learn that Robert the Bruce has sided with the English during the battle. Many Scots were offended by the portrayal of Robert the Bruce in the film, as he was a national hero in real life. I love this long moment where there are no words spoken, and the two men are just looking at each other, one who feels betrayed, and one who feels regret. And while I'm thinking about it, how is Mel Gibson not at least nominated for Best Actor for his performance? His performance in this film is so good and so underrated. During Old Campbell's death scene, after the actor exhaled and tried to act like he was dead for the scene, he held his breath for as long as he could, but then he had to open his eyes and breathe, and he looked up and saw his fellow actor Brendan Gleeson and realized that he had been wearing a silly fake red nose the entire take. It was one of the many jokes on set during filming. And this scene shows the terrible consequences for the Scottish nobles who betrayed their countrymen.
Cut through them like
Moses through the Red Sea.
Now this is also one of my favorite scenes in the film. In this shot, it's just the icing on the cake, with Gibson standing on a mountaintop, looking at his country. And you could say that this trap set by Longshanks was an epic fail.
This is the second time you've warned me of danger.
And Wallace now comes to thank the princess for warning him of the danger.
It's all for nothing if you don't have freedom. It's just a dream, William. A dream. Just it.
And this is one of the most important scenes in the film because it reminds the audience how much Wallace cares about his country's freedom and that he will do anything to obtain it.
No!
But the rendezvous doesn't go very well for William. This was the only film of 1995 nominated for Best Picture not to be nominated for any acting categories.
In your heart, you always knew what had to happen here.
And now Robert the Bruce discovers his father was the one who betrayed Wallace.
Never in my whole life did I swear allegiance to him.
I like how Wallace refuses to confess to his so-called treason and stands tall. When production started, Gibson had wanted Jason Patric to play Wallace.
I come to beg you to confess all and swear allegiance to the king, that he might show you mercy.
I also love how, when the princess visits Wallace in his cell, she begs him to swear loyalty to Longshanks to receive a quick death, but Wallace responds with the immortal line, "Every man dies, but not every man really lives."
Every man dies. Not every man really lives.
He then spits out the dulling potion that she gives him.
You're quite taken with him, aren't you?
I respect him.
And in this scene, the princess tries unsuccessfully to save the life of Wallace, but reveals that she has a child in her that is not of the king's bloodline. Which, in real life, obviously did not happen. The Times named Braveheart the second most historically inaccurate film of all time. For the shots of the villagers throwing things at Gibson, they were at first throwing actual vegetables and other things that severely hurt the actor, so in the next take, Gibson got the extras to throw softer things at him.
Now behold the awful price of treason.
During an early test screening of the film, when it got to this scene, droves of people would leave the theater, and Gibson and his producers didn't understand why, until they found out the magistrate says a line about how the people will see the greatest torture they'll ever see, and that scared the audience. So they took that one line out, and at the next screening, nobody left.
Declare yourself the king's loyal subject, and beg his mercy.
Gibson as Wallace and McGowan as Longshanks never appear together on screen, even though they play archenemies.
That's it!
And for this scene, Gibson actually hanged himself for a few seconds and had to be cut down after he fainted.
Wreck him!
Despite being the lead actor, Mel Gibson would only film himself doing 2 or 3 takes so that he could focus his attention more on directing. He wanted to spend as much time as possible behind the camera. The disembowelment scene was originally filmed in detail and was far more graphic, showing Wallace's insides, but audiences felt that it went too far, so they toned it down. And this is the greatest yell in the history of movies. While Braveheart won the Oscar for Best Picture, no other awards group gave it that honor. The film's accountant plays the English knight here. This famous part of the film where Hamish throws the Wallace sword was not in the script. After production ended, Mel Gibson had been on set for 105 consecutive days, and said that shooting this movie was more taxing than shooting 3 Lethal Weapon movies in a row.
Patriots of Scotland, starving and outnumbered, charge the fields.
And I like how the final words of the film are spoken by Wallace. Thank you for watching Braveheart with me, the real movie buff. If you enjoyed this video, go back to England and tell them there that Scotland's daughters and her sons are yours no more. Tell them Scotland is free. And please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you again next time.